So I was debating on whether to do this, but there's been a lot on my heart lately, quite a bit, because there's quite a bit that has been going on, and as you can tell, I'm allergies and whatever. I've been working out real hard, and I'm still sore. So remember, not everything is what it seems. But the title of this one, Phoenix, is um, they are hostage takers. And just a little bit about me. My name is Tennille, and I am a professional transformational coach and NARC coach. And my passion, it comes from being homeless and seeing other people, realizing that it is truly our thoughts that get us into trouble. It is our thoughts that keep us from living in our purpose, right? Keep us Pavlov dogs, to the 1% Pavlov dogs, to gang stalkers, to cluster B personalities. And I realize that, the only way you can get through, still continue to live with people who are gang stalking you, the whole community, a city that is involved in gang stalking. That's their bread and butter. That's how this, in my, at least in my situation, it has worked for 10 years that I've been enduring that. Then I became homeless. Once it started, I became homeless, and realizing that I had been taking a step back and not really taking a look at, okay, what is, I didn't want to take on this world anymore because it was too intense for me. Being an empath, being, clairaudient, clairvoyant, clairsentient, whatever, I come from a very powerful bloodline. And having always had to been given mediocre, right? And as if you guys have watched some of my other videos, you know that I talk a lot about the tactics and characteristics of cluster B personalities, so that you recognize them, because when you know better, you do better, right? So, and it's not only knowing better and doing better, but it's also getting into you. My workshops, I have many workshops that are coming out. I had to take a bit of a pause because, again, I'm still in the city that gang stalks, and when you gang stalking is, again, a sorority for cluster B personalities, and they're flying monkeys. And when you don't, they can't unalive you, uh, because the witchcraft doesn't work, because you have a spiritual practice, because you know what you're thinking about, because you are that spiritual being, that earth angel, or whatever you want to call it, that you're that spiritual being that, like, I can feel what you're doing, I can hear what you're saying about what you want to do to me. And the street theater, the staged incidents of trying to get your dander up, it's when all that doesn't work, because you have a spiritual practice, because you're not afraid of death, right? I mean, I have lived by myself in isolation, by choice, at time now by choice, but really not by choice, because when you're being gang stalked and these guys are doing what they're doing, because the whole point is, it's a game for these guys. Some people, well, when you have family, friends, your own culture, your own gender, right? They're spouting all this BLM, and they're talking about, okay, women's rights and intersectionality and all this other kind of stuff. And you realize, but these are the same people who are stalking me. These are the same people who wanted to put a hit out on me because I wouldn't have sex with them. These are people who are slandering me, knowing that I keep to myself. So all you have to do is make up something, right? So these are people, even my own family. My mother was literally killed for insurance money, was killed for sure insurance money. And I'm the black sheep. I'm the one that nobody wants to talk to, right? And that's how it is with us, Phoenix is that they don't want to talk to us. They don't want to validate our existence. It's like our very existence is an affront to them, right? It's like they don't understand why they feel that way, but they feel that way. As I've shared before, I had aunts and uncles and whatever look at me suspiciously and say, there's something wrong with you. And it's like I tried to figure it out because I was an inquisitive child. I mean, I love knowledge. So it's like, okay, well, if there's something wrong with me, then let's fix it. Right. And what I realized, Phoenix, is, and again, we'll get into, so that my passion is from being homeless and realizing that it was my thoughts that had put me there. And coupled with the gang stalking, accented basically with the gang stalking, because the gang stalking continued. Now they were just like, they were going to go in for the kill. We're going to try and make her, we've made her homeless now. So now we're going to try and get her to, overdose on drugs, take drugs first of all, and then overdose on drugs. But see, I already had a pretty strong foundation spiritually. I just was stagnant. I wasn't willing to go to those other levels. Right. And it's not, I don't believe that there's new levels, new devils. I just believe that there's just more intense. Right. Because when the knowing what cluster B personalities are, their characteristics or tactics is knowing who Satan is and how Satan works. Period. Is knowing how evil principles and principalities work. And the flying monkeys are the little imps, the demonic imps that do the principalities, the head cluster B personalities bidding. When I say that they take hostages, sometimes Phoenix says it can feel that, gosh, I'm doing everything I've done. I'm praying, I'm fasting, I'm doing gratitude lists. I'm doing a list of what I accomplished. I'm doing, I'm speaking at this point. I'm volunteering for here. I got a good job. I was like, so why is this still happening? Why is God not coming in? Right? Because we're going to have those talks. It's not that, man, Yeshua said, hey, if this cup be taken, if this cup could be taken from me, let it be taken from me. If I don't have to go through this crucifixion right now, because the worst thing, Phoenix, is sometimes, and especially when you know that you are dealing with people who are low self-esteem, lower vibratory, insecure, and they want to unalive you, but they want to do it. They want to take their time doing it because it gets them off. When you're around people that it gets them off to see you, start looking around you at people who get off. Like I've seen some people, it's like they'll look at like something has happened, a tragedy has happened, and they're focused on that body. So, because with people with narcissism and psychopathing, whatever, they know how to mimic so they can go undetected. That's why they don't like us, Phoenixes. That's why our own relatives and parents don't like us, because we come out shining. People with cluster B personalities who are character disturbed, and just some people who are just toxic because monkey see, monkey do. They like to dump things on us. And I was reflecting in meditation again, like it's been a heavy month. I've been working out, and heavy couple of weeks actually. Been dealt with some psychic attacks, and just dealt with some stalking. It's never ending. But what was revealed to me was like, there are times, Phoenix, is so sometimes where it's not that we're on autopilot. Sometimes it's just that our spirit, our higher selves know that we know something is off kilter. We're searching for home. We come in, we feel, we sense, we smell. Like because especially since I quit smoking, it's like, oh my God, it smells moldy. It smells like throw up. It smells putrid, right? I got off the train to walk to the site, and I'm like, God, this is disgusting, dude. What is this? Like, this is how this place smells, right? Sometimes, we know, but we weren't able to articulate it. And then because they knew that we knew, parents, people over authority over us, right? People sometimes get a sense of who we're going to become, and they want to take it. They violate us from the beginning, trying to take what is not theirs to take, because they see something, they see that glow, they see that spark. They can't even articulate it. So they have to convince us at a young age that, hey, you're just like everybody else, you're an old soul. They want to deny that. They just go into denying your reality from the jump. They go into denying your reality from the jump. They withhold from you love and affection. They block you from having healthy relationships, and they give you the scraps. They give you what is mediocre for you. They give you less than what you deserve, because that with narcissism, with and cluster B personalities, they will reward mediocrity. Look at the United States. The United States rewards mediocrity. When I was watching, and I couldn't stand it a lot, but because of this, because of the racism, the blatant racism, with Simon Cowell or whatever, some mic, where the contestants sing. I forget the name of it. But one thing that I noticed, Kelly Clarkson is a great singer now, but she wasn't back then. She was mediocre. And she said on the other show without Simon Cowell, if I'm even saying his last name right, but he's a narcissist, and everybody thinks it's just delightful. And narcissism is not delightful. But on that show, Kelly Clarkson was letting people know, was letting a black contestant know that she could relate to Nefertiti and all that, because why? Somebody took her aside. They saw her potential from her mediocrity. Starting out as country, now all of a sudden she's rhythm and blues, right? Like there's Marion something, another singer, country. She's like, oh yeah, I love all the black women in OC. And now the mind screw, the psychological warfare against black women is, as long as we acknowledge you, you should be content with that. Not complain about the fact that you're not getting paid, or not complain about the fact that you probably have to pay more for a vocal coach or anything else like that to enhance you, right? Because the truth of the matter is, Phoenix, is people don't know what to do when they can't box you in, they can't label you and package you. They don't know what to do. They don't know what to do when you shine so brightly and you're so confident. They dumb you down. And that's what the Most High had revealed to me. It's like, Tennille, you have never been what these people have ever said about you. You've never been. You've carried it. I've carried the sins of people that I didn't even know. Because that's the type of world we live in. That's what cluster B personalities do. They will dump and project onto you their pain. I had somebody who's been obsessed with me, and they projected their car crash, the effects of their car crash onto me, the effects of their drinking and drugging onto me, because they don't like that I can fast at least for 24 hours, that I like to eat healthy, that I like to work out, right? Even if I didn't like it, I would have to do it because of who I am. It's a part of being in my purpose. How can I get downloads from the Most High and help you, Phoenixes, and be a part, be a mentor and be a leader in Phoenix's Rising Academy when I'm toxic? How can I do that? How can I do that? And so you'll have people who That's why people will think, oh, well, you're not going through enough because you know how to alchemize what the toxicity. You know when toxic, and this is what another thing the Most High brought up to me, and I was like, hell yeah, and because I was thinking about this, I don't know why, it came up, and sometimes when God wants you to deal with something, you just deal with it, and so it came up, and the Most High also was like, okay, so. So not only have you never been these things that people have told you? And let me say one more thing about that. The thing of it is when you clear your mind, Phoenix says, I am the type of transformational coach and narc coach. We don't talk about narcissism to the point where we're just belittling and berating these guys, right? They're going to be what they're going to be. It's the belittling and berating somebody just for fun or just to, get your little daggers in or whatever. It doesn't do anybody any good. What does good, because they're you got a cake, you're always going to have a cake. It doesn't matter whether these guys were traumatized or not. Sometimes that trauma just pushes them, propels them, helps them to spiral out of control, helps to get them to a higher level of demonhood, I guess you could say, right? But not only did you not, were you not, what these guys are said that you were, but also what I found through having to fight off all this witchcraft, right? The psychic attacks literally going after my mind. Do you know, because I fasted, because I had a prayer life, whether it was Vedic mantra chanting or Psalms chanting, right? Recitation, reciting or whatever. I had clarity. I could discern from what were my thoughts and what were their thoughts. So what they tried to do, what this one succubus tried to do, because she was so upset, right? She had SA as a child. And, God was revealing this woman to me. So it was like, it was never going to happen on my end, whether God had removed or revealed anything to me. My guides were like, boom, like, oh my God, so it didn't matter. There was nothing that was going to happen between her and I, nothing. But people with these character disturbances, they're not mental illnesses, please understand. People with these character disturbances can't help but see themselves, they idealize themselves, basically. See themselves as, oh, everybody wants to be with me. I am so attractive, whatever, and I can get anybody that I want. So this is what this person thought. And when that person was rejected, she started accusing me of doing things or being things that she was later outed for. So she started accusing me of being a sex offender. Pardon me. And you will find with people who are unhealed, the way they have this thing of getting revenge, and they will start accusing anybody, right, as a means of killing two birds with one stone. Well, I'm going to get back for what at you. You're going to take the fall for what happened to me. And not only that, but you're going to pay for wounding my ego. So I had to stand my ground on that because I don't have a history of that. It's in my family, you bet. I'm not my family. See, that's the thing. It's like when people reject you and discard you, you don't have to take on. I stopped doing that a long time ago. I would take on a few things because I was like, I just want to belong. I don't want to not have a family. I don't want to not, have that cushion, that those people to talk to, whatever, right? But I noticed that the more stable in my spirituality I got, the more I started to evolve and grow into and to peel away everything of other people that was being thrown at me, characters and perversions and qualities and toxicity that was never mine. This was from a young age, mind you. The Mack truck didn't get me, so they thought, okay, well, let's use her, right? So when you start healing, they don't know what to do with you. When you start unpacking, and when you start, they start getting special deliveries back of their own toxicity that they never should have pawned off on you in the first place, they get mad, right? They get mad. And a lot of us, there's gang stalking, there's harassment, there's, we've gone through so many things. We've worked our asses off. That's another thing that the Most High brought up to me. It's like, you really need to take a step back, right? You were on the streets for 3 years. No help. They were purposely denying you housing because it was to punish you. Again, I've talked about collective narcissistic races and cultures before, where it's, it's the one race, it's unistitos, it's la raza. That's what I'm dealing with here. And this is actually a gang, but it doesn't matter if you're a gang member or if you're, non-gang affiliated. Now it's everyone for themselves. And so, when you, they brag in their, where I'm at, they brag about, these gang stalkers brag about it. Okay, we killed this person, right? Or we created this type of street theater and we videotaped their reaction. That's what they had done that to me, actually. Trying to start a dog fight, right? With, I had 2 pits at that time. One a gaudy pit and then my Staffy terrier, actually. And, and it's not the first time. So I guess what I say is like, this has nothing to do with you. It's not your fault that you came out into this world knowing, seeing, believing, and doing on levels that were shunned, right? So, a lot of times they only allow certain people who have already been allowed themselves to be programmed and conditioned so that they could be in their gifts. Doesn't mean that they're in their purpose, but they got their gifts. And they've probably been traumatized. Again, I've used the example of Britney Spears and Kesha, sexually assaulted. She's just now coming out about that, right? It was I mean, like a whole mess. And this goes on quite often, quite frequently in the entertainment industry, but people it's normalized. So for us, who are going through it on, we're not entertainers, we're not famous, right? But we're going through gang stalking. We're having people trying to unalive us or unalive our pets or turn our families against us or make sure that we don't get a job or that we lose our jobs or, or that we lose whatever status or fame or fortune or whatever that we have. They're, doing witchcraft on us when that doesn't work. Trying to unalive us through coffin spells, death spells, graveyard spells, anything that they can do, right? No, it's hard because there's really the only thing that is your saving grace, Phoenixes, is knowing what you're thinking about. Your saving grace is the fact that you're willing to do the work, right? Because they're not expecting you to fight back. They're expecting you to allow yourself to be bullied because of some wound, trauma bond from something else, right? So they come in and they, boom, a trauma bond. I know there's so many different explanations for trauma bonds, and a trauma bond for me has always been, I beat you because I'm angry with my life, right? And now you're traumatized and you're trying to find out why this person would do such a thing. Because they're never going to apologize. There's always excuses. That's what forms the bond, because they're the trauma bond, because they're deflecting. They're deflecting. This is just the way it is, right? If you would have been a normal child, as I was told, if you would have been a normal child, I don't know How did I not, was I not a normal child? How was no anyone not a normal child? Save for disfigurations or, what, those kind of medical things. I mean, everything else was fine. Everything was fine. So how was I not? So we people will devalue us and gaslight us and make us think, okay, well, you're the reason why I have problems. You're the reason why I'm toxic. You're the reason why I'm trying to kill you. Right? So that's that conditioning that is sent to us. For the longest time, I'd get online here and I'd start feeling like really like, I have to buckle over sick and dizzy. Whereas before I was just fine, right? Because somebody didn't want me to come online and share my story. Somebody didn't want me to. I mean, sometimes I had to get over the embarrassment of sharing my story, because it's like, okay, this is my purpose. My purpose is to share my story. I didn't go through it for no reason, right? And I was even questioning, are you sure this is my purpose? Because, you know what I mean? Like, this isn't what I had planned. This isn't filmmaking, right? That's what I had planned for myself. That's what I talked about to myself on the streets. I was like, this is what we're going to do. I was making goals, right? That was another thing that I learned through the gang stalking and through transitioning and trying to get up off the streets. It was when I focused, and then it took the power away from them. They weren't draining my energy, because people feed off of your energy when you start responding to them, right? When you have a reaction. For instance, I was stalked again. I mean, not really stalked, actually. People were, I don't even know what it's called, but I saw this same couple 3 times, or I saw them twice together, and then once just the guy. And he was taking video of me. So you can get through it. But here's this emotional intelligence, because I did the work. Because before, that would have made me freak out. It's like, oh my God, why are you doing this now? What is this? Why are you keep harassing me? I would have freaked the fuck out. This time I was like, but I know my rights, right? And you're going to a gym, right? So who's telling these people that are stalking to go to this gym? Because this is where she is. This is what she's doing. The employees. Smiling in your face and laughing behind your back. These are Asian and Hispanic employees. And if you guys know, I don't have to say anything, because you guys have listened to me on TikTok, and I got the TikTok live replays where I'm explaining a lot of what the dynamics that go on here. So it is an actual gang stalking, and this gang recruits members that aren't of their race, because then they can shield themselves from being discovered. Number one. Number two, when you have multiple people, you can't peg anybody down. Number 3, when you use witchcraft, right? You can't, there's no trace. There's no trace. So when you have a family member who's, you got to really pay attention. And the reason why I take people through the 4 steps is reveal, heal, grow, and show. So basically, you got to reveal what is deep down in you. I asked the Most High, I said, hey, I've noticed that I'm feeling nervous about receiving payments for my services. Why? And I said, because I have a goal, and this is what I'd like to get to, and I won't be able to reach it if I'm constantly nervous about getting. So what is this anxiousness that I feel? What is this nerve? It's not a giddy, happy, exciting. It's, oh my God, I gotta. It's almost like there's haste to it, and so the Most High revealed to me a vision of my grandmother taking my money, taking the change that I had. I don't think I even got allowance. I don't know how I got money. I don't know if I got an allowance or not. But I had money, and she would always take my change. And I don't know if I think I worked for it somehow, did something for people, and they would give me $5 or whatever. And she liked to roll up her pennies and her quarters and her nickels and stuff. And so here I was taught 2 things. I was taught not to question her authority. And I was taught that if I questioned authority, that I was going to be punished. Now she knew that my grandmother was an enabler of my father abusing me. She would see the welts on me, and she says, "Oh, you just fell down." Deny my reality when she knew what it was. Right? She's transitioned now, but she would, if I didn't want to give her my change, if I resisted her, she'd send my dad in to assault me. Right? So when you grow up like that, you learn. You learn that and this was, 6, 7, 8, right? And God also revealed to me, because I was like, Lord, when we're recalling these things, and you're bringing them to my mind screen, my body, my spirit was too big for my body in the first place. I don't remember. I mean, because like I feel like I've kind of finally grown up into my spirit. Like my body is kind of my like matching my spirit, if that makes sense to you guys. Um, but the way that I saw myself when I was, so high, 4 foot, 3 foot. Sorry, sometimes I'll hear things and I know nobody's here. And 3 feet high, and I'm not. I see. We were as we were supposed to be when we first came in here, as light workers, as healers, as earth angels, um, as Buddhas. We came. So many of us came in here enlightened, which made a lot of people jealous. But that was in our bloodline. I had a Celtic auntie, you know, uh, who I was told was a member of the Golden Dawn. And, she's like, we can see it, and I'm going to protect you. And she's never left. She's never left me. She's never left me. And that's been my saving grace, I believe, is the work that she did, God knows how long ago, having seen me, and somehow she's still with me. Right? The blessing is that when we go through this traumatization, this gaslighting, this gang stalking, this we have these relationships with these narcissists, these cluster B personalities. What they can become is our biggest teacher, is our biggest trainer, to get us back to our authentic self and our purpose. Right? So whatever, sometimes we cut off our own gifts because we're afraid that other people are going to be afraid of them. So we'll cut it off. Right? I've always been able to, when I'm at that vibration, and there was things that I did when I was young and in my teenage years that uh, terrified people, made them so upset. I literally had one lady tell me, it's like, you have this way of knowing. We just look at you. You just look at us and you just know. It's like, that's a gift. That's my survival. Right? But so again, what I'm saying is, sometimes, Phoenixes, we have to prune off what has been grafted into us, the toxicity, the guilt, the shame that has been grafted into us, right? We grew up in a toxic, very dysfunctional family dynamic where everybody sympathized with the parental or, authoritative abuser, right? Because I will never understand. My dad is a sex offender. My cousins were sex offenders. My grandpa was a sex offender, right? And even knowing that, even the victim of his was, they were inviting him to pick cookouts, and, oh, are you going to come here? But I was never invited. You know, like, I was, when they were inviting me, he was never nowhere to be found. Right. So, I mean, and he lived in a, on the east side of the mountains. So it's just weird, but and it's so it wasn't really coercive control. It wasn't really, oh, we're trying to, just keep the family together. We sympathize with this. It was, well, you know what I mean? Like, it was really as if they were picking him over somebody who was sane, over somebody who could probably see into their closets, their spiritual closets, their mind closets. Right? So sometimes, Phoenix says, you have to understand you're so powerful. You're absolutely are powerful, that people will take the mediocre, will take the toxicity, because they know that how they can control that. They know that they got something over that. But when it comes to you and you're being unpredictable, not the unpredictability that the narcissists or the cluster B personalities, bring you, where you don't know when they're going to fly off the handle. You don't know when they're going to go into a narcissistic rage, because they will fume for weeks, for months, before they actually take action, before they actually blow up, right? They'll fume. And usually it's just because you didn't give them something that they felt entitled to, right? Whether it be sex, whether it be money, whether it be accolades, whether it be your energy, your time, in anything, So when you, again, so the importance of what I take my clients through is, what are you thinking about? Because they're attacking your thoughts. Your thoughts form your life, because what you imagine and hear. I have always thought in pictures. I have always thought in images in my head. I can, it's not that I can't critically think. It's not that I'm not critically thinking in my head. I can do both. I prefer the movie screen, to see something in that on my mindscape, right? I got a big enough forehead to see something on my mindscape, and that God is downloading to me, right? Like when I asked, hey, why is it that I'm afraid to receive money, for a service that I've performed, right? Or for a business that I have. Oh, nose is itching. And he showed me the picture of my grandmother asking me for my monies and my change, and getting mad because I didn't want to give it to her, and calling my dad, and him coming in and assaulting me. So, that was normal. But that's why, because I'm afraid somebody's going to come in. Because why? When you're doing, I have people who are still trying to traumatize me to keep me from rising to that moment of whatever. I mean, it's like, why keep me from rising? Because when my time's up, when I rise so high, then that's when my time will be up. I'll have ascended, and that's it. You don't have to deal with me. So just let me rise. Like, let me rise. It's none of your business whether I do or don't in the first place. But these are people who really do think, hey, we have control. We're God, right? So it's important what I learned, how I got through it, how I'm still getting through this. It doesn't mean that I'm not affected. Like right now, my sleep is being disturbed because of them going after me in the dreamscape. When they can't go after you for the material things that, because you don't have that ego problem of, okay, well, if I don't have, I can make, when I became homeless, it's like, okay, I'm going to make a community. I'm going to make a home around me then. Like that's what I've been used to doing because I had to. Right. And I think that is also sometimes what God wants to get us out of is is being always in survival mode. Learn how to thrive, learn how to create with your mind. Now, I don't have it all figured out, right? I'm still learning because I've been, you know what I mean? So sometimes you get worn on, then you start thinking negative, right? Which is why I do the positive affirmations on this channel or the relaxing sounds or whatever, because these are the things that I use. These are my tools. These are my tools to get me back centered, to get me back solid. I go work out. I write. I did my gratitude list. I wrote in my journal, right? What is going on, how I feel, right? Because sometimes I don't feel like it, but that's the whole thing. They want to truncate. They want to stop your progress. They want to stop your process. They want to stop you doing anything that gets you to a place of healing, that gets you to a place of growth, that gets you to a place closer that's to your authentic self and understanding who you are. So you have to do the work on yourself. So use them, Phoenixes. Use them quietly. Play chess, not checkers. Be silent, though. Be silent. Right? Because you don't want them to know what you're doing, because that's going to cause more drama. Right? It's not that you live in fear, but you could be smart about it. Be smart about it. If you know that you are dealing with a deranged lunatic, whether it be your mother, your father, your sister, your brother, your grandparents, your cousins, your second cousin, your great grandparents, or whatever, right? It doesn't matter. You got to be smart. But one thing, again, I realized, to continue, is that my thoughts had created my homelessness. It gave the devil a foothold in there, to where when they started coming in to confuse me, right, did witchcraft to confuse my mind, to keep me from seeing and getting clarity, because God never has lost a battle, ever. It may be delayed, it may be prolonged before you get justice. I've been frustrated about that. You know, I was like, and I know that the Most High pays better than Satan, but Satan comes with that microwave stuff. I mean, so you're not going to get the nutrients, but at least you'll get something. You'll get something in bulk. You'll get something that you can take to the bank or whatever. A quick fix. Whereas God's going to take his time with you, or their time with you, because they don't want you to fail. They want you to be long lasting, right? Because sometimes it's not just about your purpose. It's about you living and being able to succeed, being able to be happy. God didn't have, my ancestors did not have planned. The angels, the Most High did not have planned for me that Marion Morris, that was the name that I was looking for earlier. God, the Most High didn't have planned for me to be in abusive relationships all of my life. And what the weirdo thing is, and I was pointing this out to the Most High too. I said, I am so frustrated, because not only are you telling me now, or confirming, that what they were throwing at me as was my problem, was never my problem, right? So you don't see your own light. They're bombarding you with all their toxicity, right? On top of the food, on top of the liquor, on top of the drugs, on top of the cigarettes, right? People think, oh gosh, it's so good. I'm a proponent of marijuana. Yeah, I've seen people who could have better careers if they'd stop using marijuana, because they're so out of this world. It's okay if you want to be granola, right? And it's okay if you can pay, I guess, but for somebody to train you and condition you, but deal with that hurt, deal with that pain. So that way, and that's what I want to say too, is that even if you do, let's say you smoke marijuana, or you do CBD or whatever, and you drink a bit, it's not, and I'm not saying it to be high sedity. I'm just saying I couldn't drink on emotionally, and you know what I mean, when I was emotional, right? When I realized the power that I had to control my energy and control the energy that was being directed towards me, because I had control over my thoughts. So I was imagining everything that I knew was coming to me. Everything that I said that I wanted to happen was happening. right? So because it was happening, it was scaring people, that because when you're dealing with cluster B personalities, narcissists and psychopaths, etc., that whole cocktail, they can't stand to lose. So that's the more that they were attacking me, the closer they knew I was getting to having what I said I was going to have. I wrote in journals like this. I had several, I still have them. And I look over them. I took pictures for my documentary, to add to the documentary, just as a piece to say, this was the process that I went through when I was on the streets, where I was writing down, like even now, having sticky notes and writing stuff down, making declarations, having sticky notes, as it was like I was in college. That's basically what it was. Like I was in college with the Most High, and my angels and my guides and my ancestors were around, because nobody was fucking with me, Phoenixes. Nobody was messing with me. I was targeted for kill. It was an appointment that was set. I wasn't supposed to get back up. I was supposed to be embarrassed and ashamed that I was homeless at 40 years old. That's what, when cluster B personalities come at you, they want you to be embarrassed and ashamed, because they're not. So they'll dump all of that stuff onto you they're transferring from themselves, right? The emotional projection, the dumping, the triangular, the projection is something that narcissists do when they can't, when they've triangulated you with somebody else, but they can't go to that person because they're still grooming them, right? To learn their patterns and to be subjected to all that shit. So they're grooming him. So they go to you because you're expendable. You've already been groomed. So you're expendable. And they'll say everything, because I had that happen to me. It was bizarre when it happened, that this person was literally and I said to myself in my head, like, I am not this lady's girlfriend. And I said her name in my head. I said, I'm not her. But I said, why do I feel like I'm her? Why? Well, because this person can't say that to her, because she has a persona, right? She got with the woman for street cred, for her and the gang stalkers. That's how, the Mexican gang, right? And I found that out, before the discard. But I found a lot of things out from what she said and whatnot. So I started to understand. I took responsibility for my actions. I took responsibility for my thoughts. I took responsibility for my fears. I took responsibility for that little girl who wasn't allowed to grow up and be normal because she was told that her gifts made her abnormal, right? I took responsibility for healing her. I was taking responsibility in other ways, right? So, and focusing on that. But so I knew, I was like, okay, I'm not even gonna go into this woman, this roommate that I had that was sent to try and destroy me. And that was the other thing, see, because if I hadn't have gone through that, I wouldn't have recognized it when it came last year again, right? So this succubus that is still obsessed and whatever, literally said, I'm going to destroy you. I heard her say it to herself. I'm going to destroy you. And she was so happy about it, like the contortion of her face. She was no longer herself. It was whatever demon she had made a pact with to be inside of her, So it's, but it's important, I guess, too. Sometimes I jump back and forth, but basically, Phoenix is rising. It is important to know what you're thinking about. It is important to do that work. It is important to get out of the fear of looking at yourself, because you're afraid that maybe some things are right. Maybe some things are right about you that were said about you. If it is, it is. If it isn't, it isn't. But you're not going to know unless you unpack it, aren't you? But you want to defeat the narcissist. Defeat them in your mind first, because then they have nowhere to go, because that's really the first thing that they're going to. So when you know your worth, see, I had known enough of my worth, right? Started healing early. And I'd been sent some great mentors too, right? But there were a few things that I didn't want to do. And one of those things were to deal with generational curses. I probably already, burnt some away or changed a little bit of it, but there were some deeper ones. And I'd ran from it, and when I became homeless, it was like, okay, I guess I'll take it. But before I became homeless, I said I'll deal with it. So either way. But if I hadn't have known myself, when you don't know yourself, you will allow them to idealize you because you'll be flattered by that. Because it's something that you've been yearning for, because you feel lonely and you feel abandoned, right? Pardon me. Because some of us, even though we go into hermit mode, right? I go into hermit mode. I don't mind, but I like to socialize a little bit, right? I can socialize here and there. I mean, I'm not total hermit recluse. But when they even take that away from you, right? Trying to get this. Okay. When you do like to socialize, you do like to get out, but you have to keep yourself, because you get winded, by all the other different energies and stuff like that. But you can use the dealing with cluster B personalities, dealing with gang stalking, to help you grow, to help you have a stronger, deeper relationship with the Most High. It doesn't mean that you're not going to question, because the more enlightened, and I stopped. This is the third time in my life that I've stopped my my growth, my evolution, because it gets to be too much. Right now, I'm at a point where it's too much. I'm tired of it. I'm having trouble sleeping, because it's not that the Most High is not with you or surrounding you. And I've had to ask that question, like, okay, how come it feels like these demonic entities that are being sent, these human fragmented spirits? If you're a Patreon, you have access to those replays, because that was a deep discussion. It was done on TikTok. So that was a deep discussion. So I'm putting my focus in on my YouTube fam, and giving thanks to my subscribers. And again, just to cut away a little bit, if you guys want, get on my social media, other social media, on my TikTok and my Instagram. It's basically the same, just all one word, as my YouTube channel name. If you want to do a donation, I would be great, and on my link tree, and everything's through my link tree site. So if it's not in this video, it's in another video, or just go to the about tab, and you can click on that from the header. But anyway, yeah. So it's hard. So that's why I was having these conversations with God lately, because I'm like, oh my gosh, this person keeps doing this. It's the same thing over and over and over again. And I'm tired of being distracted. I'm tired of having to focus on only clearing away the witchcraft, or only clearing away, the psychic attacks. And then when you're being attacked, when you're being I see it anytime somebody keeps coming after you, and you've already told them to back off. You've already set boundaries. You've already let them know that they're being charged by the second for coming into your energy, for trying to rape you, right? Because that's basically what that is. So be careful when you lust after somebody. Know the difference between lust and love. I have a soulmate that I can't be with, but I pray for her, right? It's not she has a partner already, right? I asked God when I was on the streets. I said, hey, because I was like, I'm tired. I feel suicidal. Because this is getting hard, and I'm scared. Like, I still don't like walking at night. I don't like walking at night, because that's when people try and blindside you. Right? So I got a lot of experience on the streets now. Eyes wide awake. That's one thing that it taught me, because see, sometimes when we don't want to see anything, what do? We hide, we crouch. We pretend like we don't see it. We close our eyes. I had to face things head on. I faced death head on. right? I haven't been to the doctor because the doctors would just brush me off. And I know that a lot of people were, with TikTok videos about, the doctors are to black women as police are to black men. And I don't agree with that saying, but uh, whatever. But because in my case, it was, those under the POC banner who aren't really POC. They're as white as they come, white supremacists they come. And so they would just turn me away. And this was when COVID was. So I don't know, if they turned me away because it was just stomach stuff for me. But I haven't been to the doctor, right? And what's frustrating is sometimes, Phoenix, is I know it's like sometimes when you're being attacked, it's like, okay, so is my blood pressure going up? Like, I don't live that type of lifestyle, right? But then it kind of gets confirmed that it's not you and it's somebody else when you can actually see somebody come in and start playing with your organs. Those are things that many of us don't have anybody to talk to about it, right? We don't have any, look, I saw this person kind of imprint and superimpose themselves in my body and then go to town on me. Right? And how do I even stop it? That's the other thing. How do I even stop it? But, sometimes it's fascinating to see in the spiritual realm, but then these people will wear out their welcome because they are creatures of habits, right? So that's when God needs to intervene. And that's when you need to call on the Most High to say, hey, I can't do this by myself anymore. I'm being attacked and I'm getting ready to give them what they're looking for. And if you don't come in, if you don't, and I've said that, and that's okay. When you build a relationship with the Most High, I don't go after what the preacher says and how the preacher says they interpretates Bible, whatever, or any type of scripture. I listen, right? I listen. I consider myself Hindu. And I read the Psalms. I mean, there's nothing, I like wisdom. I like knowledge. If it's in the Bible, I'm going to reflect on it, because really people aren't going to understand what's in the Mahabharata, what's in the Upanishads, or any of those texts, because I'm still learning what that means, right? But I will tell you, one came 2,000 years before the other, right? Hinduism came before the Bible was created. Think about that. Because what I hear from what I'm listening to, the audio text of these scriptures, of these mantras, they're mantras. They're spoken as a mantra. They're sung, just like you sing the Holy Quran, which is absolutely beautiful because it has to do with vibration. So you're reaching God through vibration. You're reaching to those higher levels through vibration. The higher you go, the more it penetrates, right? The more intense it becomes, the longer you do it, the more you build it up, right? So this is why you pray and you fast, to get your mind clear and so you have a clear vessel, but also to build up your coffers, like when people in Nichiren Buddhist, they say they have this incense holder, and you put your incense in, because your incense are all your prayers. They say you don't ever throw that away. I mean, there's a ritual to that, to taking that out, because those are all that's you having a visual as to how, and how much you've put into your practice, right? Because I used to I still, but used to be avid practitioner, participant in that spiritual medium. And, just anything to get me to the light, right? Because I remember even before all the childhood trauma and abuse and stuff like that, I was like, okay, where's God? Where's home? The world is a ghetto kind of thing going on there, right? And because it is. This is not meant for us. And so that's why we get hit. But when you allow yourself to be guided, Phoenixes, into a new way of handling your stress, your abusers, right? My abusers know now, because they're stubborn, it's peer pressure for the gang stalkers. It's stubbornness and peer pressure. And again, like I said, I have people who are so obsessed with me. It's like I've had people come in into my dream state and like parlay with me, like we're bosom buddies. It's like, wait a minute, you waged this war against me. See, this is the delusion of grandeur that you get from people with narcissistic personality disorder. And the psychopath and the sociopath. It's like, well, I just think that you need to understand how things work. No, I think you need to understand that just because you've created something to gain control doesn't mean that I'm going to allow you to control me. I'm my own empire. This is my temple. I didn't give you permission. You don't have the password. So it doesn't matter whatever dwelling I reside, my kids, my bloodline reside in, you cannot come in. But see, people will do it because you don't have the password. So if you don't have the password, you're going in illegally. So now the spiritual world realm understands that and notes that, and they'll be like, oh, okay. So you keep breaking in to this person's home. You keep trespassing on their property. You're being charged with interest, right? So we have to understand the spiritual realm. How we understand the spiritual realm is by clearing away all of that crap that's been dumped on us and thrown at us that never belonged to us in the first place. And we assimilated it because we didn't know how to properly process it and discard it and let it go so that it went back to its original owner. We didn't know how to do that. We were afraid to do that because on one hand, people were glorifying us for being able to be so strong to take on other people's issues. They were mammifying us. Right? They were mammifying us. And the worst thing for a narcissist is to not have a supply. Worst thing for cluster B personalities is to not have a supply. When they know that you are no longer allowing them to get to your energy, and you are sending the only thing that you can take from me is every demonic particle that you have thrown at me. You can siphon that back out. That's all you're getting. You walk into a room and people start getting healed and start feeling happy, right? And then they start questioning when you're just having a blah day, right? You're not all hyper and super animated, but you're just having a blah day, which happens to normal people, right? See, when we're growing up, we're taught that we're basically not normal, right? So we start feeling alien, right? Not the alien as, okay, this is my fingers, you know what I mean? Because I thought that when I was younger. I was like, no, I was, again, God first. Where is God? Where's God? And how do I get out of here? That's what I was thinking, to be honest with you guys, So sounds weird, but that's what I was thinking. I wasn't thinking about my purpose, and because I was such a cornball, dude. I couldn't fit into any place. And one guy said, well, you're so predictable. I don't think so. Sometimes where people think, oh, they're predictable. No, people aren't predictable. They just have a pattern. So you're predicting the pattern, not the person. When you can predict the person, that's a whole different ball of wax right there. When you can predict what they're going to do, like I can predict through the patterns, because cluster B personalities have patterns, and they cycle every 3 months. Right? Like I have people who are trying to get me to go back to when I was more pliable. They're literally scrying. So that's why I said sometimes it's hard for me to go to sleep, because even though I know I'm being protected, whether it be from seeing what they're doing and because it would make me livid, right? Like I was livid when these guys did too, a female and a male came into my dream state, trying to parlay with me, talking, and I didn't hear a word that she said. I was watching her actions and I was watching my own actions. And I melded with one of my shapeshifters. And I sent him after her. It was over before it begun. I was tired of talking. It was cool seeing myself from in that area because she was trying she had set something in a potted plant, three what looked like stone eggs or something like that, but they had things written on them. So she was basically trying to keep me from doing anything to her. Did not help her. Did not help her at all. So that's the benefits, Phoenixes, of doing your work, right? It's like, I don't want to deal with witchcraft. I haven't had, I talked about witchcraft a little bit. What is that? I watched The Craft. That was like the best movie out in those days. I watched The Craft, right? I didn't watch the updated version of it because it's like, oh my God, I'm so tired of these remakes, like just get something new, please. I know as a scriptwriter, you have vaults of scripts that you've paid for and haven't paid for, whether you've read them or not. Get some new material, dude. You want to talk about narcissistic hoarding. You're hoarding scripts for what? You're doing remakes, man. Stop it already. Jiminy Christmas, man. So anyway, sorry, my tired eyes. Oh gosh. Is he gonna do it? Okay. Okay. So anyway, yeah. So basically, my whole purpose for this was just to say, I understand, but the more that you go in to yourself, you have to get off your social media. You have to get off of, tweeting and twicking and all that other kind of stuff. And you have to go into yourself. You have to allow yourself to cry. You have to allow yourself to see yourself as you actually are. See scenes as they actually were. The scenes that hurt you and traumatized you. Understand, ask for clarity and ask for discernment. Ask for the wisdom to see. Ask for the courage to see, right? So that it doesn't blind you, that it doesn't re-traumatize you, right? God's not going to take you where he knows or they know that you don't need to go. It's layers of an onion, sweethearts. It's layers of an onion, right? So more has been revealed. Like when I had to ask, why am I afraid of getting why am I afraid of people paying for me or getting a large amount of money? I would say, it's not an edgy, it's an edginess, right? Like I have to really go hurry up and spend it because why? People had taken my grandmother had taken my money. That was the only thing that I had. I couldn't even have money. I couldn't have change of my own. I always felt like when I was growing up, something was being taken from me, whether it be my sex, whether it be my privacy, right? Whether it be my intelligence, right? It's always being dumbed down. I'm nervous, I'm just nervous type of being. So, it's kind of like a squirrel twitching, you know what I mean? So, but that's just me. So when people ask me, like, was doing film school and script writing class for a few semesters. And they're like, okay, we're going to all pitch through Zoom and you're going to do this pitch. And it's like, okay, I can't do that though. Right. And I think that people need to understand I have a different learning style. I am hands-on. Let me show you. Right. I don't want to pitch for a formula when I know that you're not going to. That was the other thing, too, when people are devaluing you and don't respect you because you're not a certain skin color or a gender. Right, in your certain fields, right? So it's like, why am I going to express anything to you when you don't give a shit? That's what I know. See, I'm not fake. I can't do fake. is what I'm saying. I can't do fake. I can't do pretend. I'd be a bad actress. I can't do pretend. It just won't work for me. I can do surprise, I can read my lines as long as they're short, what I can do is handle a camera. What I can do is edit some footage, you know, and add some wingdings and stuff like that. That's what I can do, right? Um, so we get in where we fit in, Phoenixes, but you have to know yourself first. You have to know. And that's how you get through being gang stalked. You get through being in a relationship with a narcissistic partner, with a cluster B personality. That's how you get through. People attacking you with witchcraft. Pardon me. As you can see. So anyway, you guys can do it. I'm going to take a break. What I'm going to do, Phoenixes, is I am going to create mini courses, and you'll have, well, at least one option. So I'll have 3 tiers on my Patreon. And that will allow you, if you want to just have the, pardon me. Now I've worked out in 2 days in a row, hardcore, and I'm feeling the soreness, and I ate something, so my body's changing. I am so fighting being vegan, but it looks like that might be what I have to do. Bye-bye grass-fed beef. Anyway, so it'll be a 3rd tier, and you could pay for those. It'll come out of your bank account, off of your credit card. But the day you signed up will be the day that's or the number that you'll be charged. So I'm not sure what it's going to be yet. Won't be too expensive because I want people to get it. Because the mini workshops that I do are just focused on the mind right now. I'm just focused on the mind because there's psychological warfare. There are games being played, Phoenixes, and people are falling for it left and right. And it's very disheartening when you have people who have fallen for the okie doke and they're dying, they're suffering, because monkey see, monkey do. A lot of times, from high school, grade school, whatever, we're taught about peer pressure, and nobody wants to go through that. Nobody wants to be the person that's isolated. Nobody wants to be the weirdo. We always want to be the popular kids, and gratefully, my personality, I was always, kind of that cool person to somebody. But I also went to race-centered high schools and colleges for a little bit, and I stopped all that shit. But after that, I was like, okay, you're telling me I need to go through all this crap to get a piece of paper and to possibly make a certain amount of money that if I get a job. Yeah, it didn't work out that way. And see, here's the thing, Phoenixes, too, the benefit of getting on your healing journey and really going in and focusing on what you're thinking about, right? So my workshops are, what are you thinking about? What's your self-talk? What are you thinking about, right? From Pavlov to God. All of it has to do with your mind. All of it has to do with having control over your mind, because we're always having our minds attacked. When through advertising, what are they trying to do? They're trying to get you to see, which affects your mind, get you to see that hamburger that has no real meat in it. Get you to say, from McDonald's, get you to see that hamburger with no real meat. And they juice it up, they gloss it up, make it look real good. They color influence you with red and yellows, and all those colors mean something. So they're there to influence you. right? So you'll buy. I admit I love their fries. They don't advertise their fries a lot, but I love their fries. McDonald's fries. Even though it stayed in my gut for probably 35 days. I don't eat there. And I was noticing that yesterday. I said, you know what? I don't eat at fast foods anymore. I don't, because I can cook it at my own. I don't mind cooking. I think for me, once I get my own place, transition soon, I really like Asian dishes. I like their food. So anyway, Phoenixes. Yeah. So, but see, my sharing with you my story and my God talks is to show you what you can have, right? To show you that you can get your own relationship with the Most High by asking. Like, it's not far off. We're right there, right there. Like right there, that a whole new world can be opened up to you if you so desire, but you got to be able to put in the work. And again, I've noticed that a lot of people are lazy. They don't want to put in the work. They're content. Oh, I'm a certain age. Why change now? Because of legacy. What's your legacy? It's what's your legacy? It's one thing see, you can have a spiritual legacy, or you can have a spiritual legacy and a 3D legacy, a dimensional legacy, right? So my legacy that's going to follow. I want that legacy that's going to follow my bloodline, right? So hopefully in this life, I've broken those curses over our finances and over us, my family, where however we got to it, thinking that, because we can't make that type of money. Or it's bad for us to be making money or whatever. It's bad. Somehow it's bad if I make money. But I'm supposed to support other people's businesses. I read something that talked about Hispanicize, and I guess it's accompanied by one of the Hispanic guys on Tu Wong Fu. It's like, I don't know. But anyway, you guys, I wanted to talk about that because it was on my mind. And because I know that a lot of people are quiet now. A lot of people are being attacked. And some of it's like as a Hail Mary, like, okay, we're going to attack you now with this. And then we're going to attack you now with that. Like last 2 weeks, I've just nothing but harassment. Nothing but harassment. And I've said this before. Again, I'm transparent. I mean, I'm a professional life coach, but I'm a realist too. I'm a realist. And, I like being transparent so that you can see what the process of growing looks like, right? When you get into your own head and you start thinking about, if I think that, then I'm going to make that a reality, right? Like they've been really in my head talking about, okay, well, you should just die. You should just kill yourself. You should just, you're old enough. You should just take what you could get. If it's mediocre, I'm not taking it. Because I'm not mediocre. If I have a partner now, that partner, she's going to be like flying on cloud 9. There's nothing that she's not going to want for. I'm going to be the best partner that any woman could ever have, especially if she's business oriented and in film, or in that career. She knows about it, right? We can complement each other, right? Because I'm not looking for fame. I'm not looking for fame. I'm just looking to put in work. I'm looking to tell stories to heal. I'm looking to share what is not being shared in a way that it's never been shared. That's my goal. Right? But that's what have been, the attacks have been. Or just feeling like an erasure, a little complete erasure of my creativity. Like I was working on my documentary outline, and had paused the script outline. So I mean, I got multiple projects. It's like, you know, so because I learned that once they start attacking me or distracting me on one thing, I go to the other. And it's not the way that I like to work. I like to work. I mean, like, I don't mind working that way, but I like to finish a project. You know, I can multitask, but multitask doesn't mean that I'm completely focused. I got to give all my time, you know? So I should have had this script done. You know how long I've been working on this, the outline for the script? And actually, I started writing the script a couple years ago. Well, a year ago, I'd say. I'll say a year ago, when we got into the hotel, because it's like, I need peace and quiet, right? And so I started working on the first part of the documentary. So a lot of the things I started working on in 2020, right? And now I want to revamp all of it and do it all over again. But I'm like, it's hard. But you switch back and forth. When they attack you in one thing, you go and do the other. And that's just goes on a spiritual, in regards to the spirit, is look, when they attack you in one thing, go use your arsenal. Go to your arsenal and pull out that tool that you need. Right? When they were attacking me in my dreams, you know, talking about you should just go with somebody. I've never been in a city that's so concerned about who, but the reason why, because these are people who are Satanists. And they're narcissists. So they want that supply. And one of the reasons how you get supply from an incubus and a succubus gets supply is by having sex. Right? It's by having sex with chosen people. You can drain them. You can dip into them. And you can also poison them. I don't want spiritual STDs. I don't want spiritual STDs. Having sex is not a priority for me. So, you know, I mean, that it didn't get to me, but it was like I could just tell that they were really trying to shame me for not dating anybody. You know? Like, why would you do that? Don't get it. But anyway, that's all for tonight, you guys. So hopefully this made sense. And again, stay tuned. If you guys aren't Patreon members, go check out the link. And I think I got to put it back up there. I think I got a different link now. I just remembered that. I'll check it out and make sure that it's up to date. But I will be putting those workshops on the Patreon. And so that'll be another membership where it'll be solely just workshops and master classes for replays for people. So if I have the master class and it's a big group thing, then you guys will be able to get, you know, if you weren't able to make it for the master class, you can pay for the replay. Okay. So anyway, I hope that was helpful. I know it's early in the morning and I am tired. But I hope you got some wisdom out of it. I hope you share some nuggets. So please let me know in the comments so that I know if I'm helping you guys or not. And remember, your blessings are in your ashes. Rise, Phoenix.